after Magic and Bird. All of that matters as far as maybe his overall icon status. But as far as the greatest player, the most effective basketball player ever, it's clearly the guy we're still able to watch every night or every couple nights.
If Jeffrey,
when it's all said and done, nobody's going to be arguing against it.
If Jeffrey didn't spend a couple of years in college, and if Jeffrey didn't go play baseball,
well, it's interesting.
We know those numbers would be totally
Well, it's interesting because he didn't have to go to college. Moses Malone didn't. And yet, when he first came into the league, so if the whole argument is, if he hadn't gone to Carolina, he would have all these records. Well, then his rookie year, he would have come in averaging 27 because his rookie year was LeBron's fourth year, but he didn't. Like, this whole...
Hey, Joe. So let me go ahead and address Nick Wright here. Yeah, he's absolutely right. You know, MJ didn't come in the league averaging 27 like LeBron did. Guess what? He came in averaging 28.2 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, and 5.9 assists a game. And I think he added about 2.4 steals a game, if I'm not mistaken. So Jordan's rookie year, after playing 3 years for Dean Smith, who handcuffed him for 3 years, they said the only person that could stop Jordan was Dean Smith. Okay, so after being handcuffed for 3 years, he came in as a rookie against Hall of Famers like the Celtics and the Sixers and the Pistons. He came in averaging 28, 6.5, 5.9, and 2.4 as a rookie, playing all 82 games, mind you, all 82. Okay, so that's a Nick Wright blunder, talking about how Jordan couldn't average what LeBron did. He did. Jordan's first 3 full years in the league, he averaged like 28.2, and I think he averaged like after his foot injury, he averaged like 35 and then 37. Okay, so he was killing the game as a rookie. Okay, so that debunked anything he just said there. Let's continue.
These other guys didn't go to college. Until recently, you didn't have to go to college. And Kobe didn't go to college. KG didn't go to college. Moses didn't go to college. None of them did what the greatest player ever has done.
All right.
All right. So let's address this. So now he's mentioning Kobe Bryant, Moses Malone, and Kevin Garnett, or KG. Okay. Let me, go chronologically here. Let me start ahead at Moses Malone. First off, out of high school, while Nick Wright wants to say, oh, he couldn't come out of high school. He wasn't good enough to come out of high school. Okay. Take LeBron's balls out of your mouth. Because first off, wing players, 6'7" lanky wing players weren't drafted out of high school. Okay. Len Bias would have been drafted. Benji from Chicago would have been drafted out of high school. You didn't draft wing players out of high school, period. It just wasn't what you did. Moses Malone was drafted in the 3rd round as a center in the 1974 ABA draft. He wasn't even drafted into the NBA. He was drafted to the ABA as a center at 6'10". I wonder what that contract looked like. I'm too lazy to look that up. I bet you it was garbage. But he was a great player that got drafted in the 3rd round as a center in the ABA. And the merger was in 76. If Moses Malone just would have played for Temple, or he would have played for some big time school for 2 years until the NBA and ABA merged, he'd have been the number 1 overall pick. Number 1. Okay. So we'll debunk that. Now let's go to Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett was a phenom, 6'11" center that can actually shoot from the perimeter. And where was he drafted? Number 5 overall. He was so cold that he only got drafted number 5 to an expansion team, the Timberwolves. It was like maybe their 5th, 6th year. So they were an expansion team that was looking for a centerpiece, and they drafted the centerpiece for the next 10 years until KG went to Boston and won a ring with the first super team manufactured by Danny Ainge. Okay, now let's go to Kobe Bean Bryant, the Black Mamba, the carbon copy. Kobe Bryant was drafted number 13 overall to the Charlotte Hornets. Now, he was lucky enough that Jerry West saw enough in him to trade for him, because if he didn't and he had to spend his whole career in Charlotte, was it Charlotte? It was the Charlotte Hornets back then. Yep, in Charlotte, he wouldn't be the Black Mamba. he would never play with Shaq. We wouldn't know what he would have been if he'd have been in Charlotte his whole career. But who leaves high school? Kobe got drafted number 13 overall. Who leaves high school to get maybe be a lottery pick? Like seriously, if Kobe would have went to Duke for 1 year under Coach K, he'd have been the number 1 overall pick the next year, guaranteed. 1997 draft, Kobe Bryant would have been the number 1 pick, period. But he chose to come out, and it worked out for him. But keep in mind, he was a 6'6" wing player, and he got drafted 13th. So to talk about, Jordan, who got drafted 3rd in the 84 draft, he got drafted behind the likes of Akeem Olajuwon, a generational center, okay, from the University of Houston. Generational, okay. And then Sam Bowie, who was another projected generational center whose body just broke down on and betrayed him. Sam Bowie was supposed to be what Akeem Olajuwon actually became too. He was a big guy. And keep in mind that people were saying, draft Jordan, and Bobby Knight was like, well, you know what? If you need a center, draft Jordan, play him at center. That's how good MJ was. But they didn't draft him out of high school. So he spent 3 years in high school and became the GOAT. So let's cut the nonsense, Nick Wright, and get your stats straight.